In Java, the equals method is used to compare the content of two objects and checks if they are equal. On the other hand, the equals smiley face operator is used to compare the references of two objects and checks if they refer to the same memory location. The equals method can be overridden to provide custom equality comparison for user-defined classes, while the equals smiley face operator cannot be overridden and always performs reference comparison. The equals method returns a Boolean value, true if the objects are equal, and false otherwise. Similarly, the equals smiley face operator returns a Boolean value, true if the references are equal, and false otherwise. When comparing primitive types with equals smiley face, it compares their values for equality. When comparing reference types with equals smiley face, it compares their memory addresses for equality. The equals method is commonly used when comparing strings in Java, while the equals smiley face operator is commonly used when comparing primitive types. Here is an example program that demonstrates the difference between using the equals method and the equals smiley face operator in Java. In this program, we have three string variables, str1, str2, and str3. The first two variables, str1 and str2, are initialized with the same string literal, hello. The third variable, str3, is initialized with a new instance of the string class that also contains the string literal, hello. The first two print statements compare str1 and str2 using the equals method and the equals smiley face operator, respectively. Since the content of both strings is the same, the equals method returns true, and the equals smiley face operator also returns true because both variables refer to the same string literal in the memory. The next two print statements compare str1 and str3 using the equals method and the equals smiley face operator, respectively. Although the content of both strings is the same, the equals method returns true again, but the equals smiley face operator returns false because str1 refers to a string literal while str3 refers to a different object created with the new keyword. The equals method in Java is used to compare two objects for equality. It is an overridden method of the object class, which means that all objects in Java have an equals method. The default implementation of equals in the object class compares the memory addresses of the two objects, which is equivalent to using the equals operator. However, for most classes, it is necessary to override the equals method to compare the actual contents of the objects instead of their memory addresses. To override the equals method, it is recommended to follow certain guidelines such as checking for null type compatibility and comparing the fields that define the object's state. The equals method should return true if the two objects have the same state and false otherwise. The equals method should also be reflexive, symmetric, and transitive to ensure consistent behavior. The hashcode method should also be overridden when the equals method is overridden to maintain the contract between the two methods. The equals method can be used to compare objects for equality in various scenarios, such as searching for objects in collections, implementing data structures like sets and maps, and testing the equality of objects. For example, in a class representing a person, the equals method can be overridden to compare the name and age fields of two person objects. It is important to note that the equals method should be implemented correctly to avoid unexpected behavior in the code. Here is an example of how the equals method can be overridden in a class representing a person. The person class has two fields, name and age. The equals method compares the name and age fields of two person objects to determine if they are equal. The hashcode method is also overridden to maintain the contract between the equals and hashcode methods. The equals smiley face operator in Java is used to compare values of primitive data types and object references. For primitive data types, such as int or double, the equals smiley face operator compares the actual values of the variables. For object references, the equals smiley face operator compares the memory addresses where the objects are stored. In this example, we have two variables, a and b, both with the value of 5. We are using the equals smiley face operator to compare the values of a and b. If they are equal, the statement inside the if condition will be executed, and it will print a is equal to b to the console. To compare strings in Java, you have two options. The first option is to use the equals method. This method compares the values of two strings and returns true if they are equal. For example, if str1 equals str2, str1 equals str2 will return true. The second option is to use the equals smiley face operator. This operator compares the memory locations of two objects. It returns true only if the two objects are stored in the same memory location. For example, if str1 and str2 point to the same string object, str1 equals str2 will return true. However, it is generally recommended to use the equals method for string comparison. This ensures that the comparison is based on the actual content of the strings. Let's see an example of comparing strings using the equals method and the equals smiley face operator. In this example, we have two strings, str1 and str2. We use the equals method to compare their values and store the result in a Boolean variable called as equal. We then print the result. In this case, the output will be, is str1 equal to str2? False. Next, we have two more strings, str3 and str4. We use the equals smiley face operator to compare their memory locations and store the result in a Boolean variable called isame. We then print the result. In this case, the output will be, is str3 the same as str4? True. To compare objects in Java, you can use the equals method or the double equals operator. The equals method is used to compare the state of two objects and returns true if they are equal. The double equals operator, on the other hand, compares the memory addresses of the objects and returns true if they refer to the same object in memory. Here is an example of a custom equals method in the person class. The equals method checks if the object being compared is the same as this object, and if not, it checks if the object is of the same class. Then, it compares the state of the two objects by checking if their names and ages are equal. The equals method is used to compare the content of two objects to check if they are equal. The equals smiley face operator is used to compare the memory addresses of two objects to check if they refer to the same object. The equals method should be used when comparing the content of objects, such as comparing strings or custom objects. The equals smiley face operator should be used when comparing primitive types or checking if two objects refer to the same instance. If two objects are equal according to the equals method, their hash codes should also be equal. The equals method should follow certain contract rules, such as being reflexive, symmetric, transitive, and consistent. The equals smiley face operator does not follow these contract rules and is not suitable for complex object comparison. The equals method can be used with collections, such as hashset or ArrayList, to check if an object is present in the collection. The equals smiley face operator cannot be used with collections, as it compares object references and not their content. In the example code, two string objects, str1 foot and str2 feet, are created with the same content, hello. When comparing the two objects using the equals method, it returns true because the content of the objects is the same. However, when using the equals smiley face operator, it returns false because the two objects refer to different memory addresses. Therefore, the equals method should be used to compare the content of objects, while the equals smiley face operator should be used to check if two objects refer to the same instance.